So this is the third and final part of the series of getting a rifle ready, and I had forgotten from part 2 that I had said there was a part 3. So I'm finishing the series, and in that part 2 I had said I had 3 loads. One was a Barnes, I think it's the long range. Another was Nosler AccuBond, and the third was a Hornady Outfitter. Of the 3, the Hornady Outfitter 180 grain did the best. Just as a reminder, this is a 30-06, and but this is a 22.4-inch barrel, and the twist rate is 1 to 11. So I had a friend tell me you need to really, look into like a Barnes bullet. So not the long range, just the standard TTSX. So I went and online and bought the 150 grain and really solid round. And actually, the Barnes 150 grain and the Hornady 180 grain did very well. Both at 100 yards off of a rest did half-inch groups. At 100 yards shooting offhand, between the two, it was an average of 2 to 3 inch groups, shooting at 100 yards, so no rest, and which is really impressive for a 30-06. So I ended up killing my first bear last October. It was about 40 yards, and I don't know if I can add this to the video at all, but I actually had a stomach problem, so I was taking care of that. Had the rifle close by, and and there was a good bit of brush, um, a little bit ways below me, and that's where the bear came through it. And at first I thought it was a big hog, and then I was like, no, that ain't a hog, that's a bear. So I shot the bear, and it was a tricky spot because there was a pretty big cliff below him, and the last thing I wanted was that bear to go down into the cliff. So I unloaded on him. I didn't shoot just once. The first shot went through the lungs, and he whipped his head around trying to bite where I shot him. And then the second and third shot, the second shot broke both his front legs. The third shot broke both his back legs. I'm probably on that fourth one. It was a miss. But that was the first thing I killed with it. And second thing, it was a little tricky because my adrenaline was pumping, and there was a really large buck come through, and I didn't see him. I just heard him, and I thought it was a squirrel. So I peeked over, and this hoss of a buck coming, cruising through looking for some does. And he stopped and turned back, and it was probably about 60 yards, maybe 70 yards. And I had the trigger set, to be honest with you, I had it set too light. I had it to the lightest setting you can get on a Tikka. And I'm pretty sure I punched through one lung. I don't know if I got the second lung or not. But after I shot him, I made the mistake of trying to get up on him again and shoot, which is, I didn't realize that's not what you're supposed to do. Once you shoot, you just be still and wait. Because after I made the shot, I heard him run into some mountain laurel, and I heard him huffing and a puffing really loud. So I definitely hit lung, and then after a while it got quiet. So I called a friend. He come out, and we both look. I found a couple spots, and we started there. And so it was, little spots of blood, and then it got to two really big spots, and then it just went to trickle, and then it disappeared. So I was going to call a dog, but I felt like I just needed to wait it out, come back the next day, and take a good look. And I came back the next day, nothing. And I had a friend come out with a drone and look, and he didn't find any, a carcass or anything, but he did find a bobcat. He caught a bobcat on video cleaning itself, so I don't know if it got that buck or what, but it did it made me sick because I really wanted to get that buck. That was a nice one. I call him Mr. I think I called him Whitey, or Mr. I think it was Whitey, but he had white on his face, and you could tell he was an old buck. Really big rack. It was thick, and so I went around there and I found all the spots I had found the previous day with my friend. Never found anything. I felt like the buck was still around there for some reason, but I never could find him. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna put a camera in there. I never caught that buck on camera, but it wasn't. What was interesting was I walked in a little deeper and started seeing some fresh rubs. So I don't know if it's him or it was another one that made those rubs, but that was the second thing I shot. And lesson learned: shoot a buck and he takes off, and he definitely mule kicked. But after you shoot a buck or a deer, period, just stay where you are, don't move, wait for about a half an hour or a little longer, and then go looking for him. So that's been my adventures with this. I love this rifle. It's a little heavier, to be honest with you, than I like, but its beauty and makes up for that, and plus the butter smooth action. So my primary load is the Barnes 150 grain. It does solid, no complaints, and really excellent 30-06. And so this is the Tikka T3X in a Roughtech stock. I'm sorry I'm saying a lot, but I'm trying to remember everything. But anyway, this is part 3. But yeah, that's the end results. 100 yards off of a rest, half-inch groups, and shooting off-handed 100 yards, 2 to 3 inches. So anyway, that's part 3.